Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Greg. That's Donnie and Mike over that way to me. We are coming to you live with our GM roundtable discussion. Got a little bit of a last minute change up. Donnie is coming to us from a hotel because his real life job was like, hey, you got to travel for work, bud. So you get a nice static picture of him, but he is on the line with us tonight. So
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you understanding.
So yeah, with that in mind, I think what we're gonna do tonight is we've got some very, very different game master styles between the three of us. If you've watched any of our content, you know that we all run games very, very differently, and so we've been wanting to do this for a while, where we sit down and kind of compare our notes, compare what we use to get ready, how we prep, what we look for in a game, and then we're also going to talk about the different systems that we like to run and play. So I'll start things off. If you haven't been with us before, my name's Greg. I run mostly Monster of the Week, but I've spent a lot of time running 5e as well, D&D 5e. Bunch of time running Adventure League there, and then a couple of home games, and then same for Monster of the Week. That's really where the majority of my GM time comes in. What about you? Kick it over to Mike.
Oh God. So I'm Mike, and I run a lot of games. I like trying a bunch of different things, so it's kind of all over the place, right? So I started with Vampire back in the day. Was that God late '90s? So I've been kind of doing it since then. Otherwise, branched out from there. We got Star Wars, Cyberpunk, little D&D, not much. Cthulhu, Traveler, Alien, Morkborg. We would just play All Flesh Must Be Eaten. That was fun. So yeah, kind of all over the place.
Which just embarrasses me terribly because I, Donnie, am the D&D specialist, we'll say. But yeah, I tend to live and die in that space. I've run a couple like large open world homebrew games, as well as ran several different modules and things like that throughout the years of DMing. And yeah, but I come from a very narrow view. I've certainly played all those systems with you all, but DM them, I have not dug into them as deeply. So I really dive in deep, get as much out of it as I can. But yeah, I don't have that depth as Mike has.
Yeah, no, Mike definitely has. I think he's played more games than the rest of the team combined. Because yeah, I've never gone to him and said, "Hey, Mike, have you seen this game?" Oh yeah, I've run a couple of that. So it's very cool to be able to play with somebody who knows one system so well, and then somebody who is so adept at playing so many different systems. Like it's a very cool spread we've got. And then there's me in the middle where it's like I can run 5e pretty fucking well, and I can run Monster of the Week pretty fucking well, but that's about it. I mean, I'll try my hand at anything. That's one thing I love about this group we've got is all of us are willing to try. We love to try new systems. And I think that is really one of the strengths of our group here is we're always willing to try something.
Which is good because apparently I can't stick to a system.
Yeah, no, that really does seem to work for you because yeah, I put all the ones you've run for the network on your title card, and A, it makes Donnie and I look real bad, and B, I ran out of room, so I might have left something out of there.
Well, soon we'll have a Traveler on there. Hopefully,
yes.
I do want to get that up.
Traveler, and then you and Amy are working on a special project, aren't you?
We are. We got a little correspondence game starting up, so that'll be fun.
I am so excited to see what you two do with that. We'll announce it when We've got some more details hammered out, but Mike and Amy are spearheading a really, really, really cool project that I'm very excited to see them put out. So yeah, make sure you keep your eyes out for that because that is in the works. Let's get into some nitty gritty then. Um, let's just knock the big one out first. What's your favorite system and why to run?
Well, why don't be short and sweet? So I do love the D&D system. I like to really that there's so much depth of content that I can riff off of. So I don't have to necessarily create everything and manage everything. I can pull in a lot from the D&D options, but there's just so many different worlds that there's a lot of different ways to play it, and it's a pretty flexible and robust system that's been tried and true. So it's just easy to kind of play it a little bit more improv-y as well for me, knowing that depth of system.
No, that
that's
makes
super
sense.
cool. I didn't start playing D&D until the pandemic, so it's super cool to see, that you guys know it so like backwards and forwards, and there's so many different worlds to play in that give such a different experience.
Yeah, like Donnie and I know we've talked about this off air. We both love the Eberron setting. It's one of my favorite fantasy settings of all time, just because it's that mage punk feel, that kind of steampunk aesthetic, but with magic. And I love the freedom that gives me as a player and as a GM, especially as a GM, kind of play with that magic and tech interface. And like you're saying, there's so much depth there, Donnie. There's so much inbuilt story and inbuilt mechanics within 5e that you can really riff off of that well and build your Eberron.
Yep, exactly. And you can kind of just pick and choose, like, okay, I like a religious story. Well, there is a huge depth of lore there you can draw on. And then if you don't want to do that, you can leave it out entirely and play into like that criminal underworld story or whatever really fits what the story you want to tell. It both just gives you the ability to add depth to it without a lot of effort, but as well, you get to kind of pick and choose what you want to explore as well and tailor it to what your players are looking at.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Mike, what about you? What's your favorite system to run and why?
I mean, I think it's close between the World of Darkness vampire line and Cyberpunk, but I'm going to give it to Cyberpunk because they have my luck mechanic. And just being a nerd and a hacker, it just fits right into everything I love.
That's fair. That's fair. That luck mechanic is really cool, and something I really appreciate about playing at your tables is you have made a habit of incorporating that into almost every game we play, and that's so cool.
Every game needs a luck mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's true. I like it because as a player, it gives me a feeling of not only a little bit more agency, but also it makes me feel like a hero. It makes me feel like it's all on the line and I can spend this, but it also is a limited resource. And so I really like a good luck mechanic.
Yeah, it always felt like I can pick my moment. Like, I want to be a hero in this moment. Like, I want this to be a good thing, not a I fall on my face moment or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And as a GM, I love it because I don't have to decide if the tool is there or broken.
Yeah.
We can let fate decide and then run with it from there.
Yeah, I think the way you use luck too is really cool. How it's such a versatile tool in your hands. You can use it for pushing a roll effectively or over under. I love it. It's the way you've used luck mechanics has really changed my approach to running because it gets me thinking about that.
Yeah.
I guess my favorite system to run is Monster of the Week. And I think it's because that is the least chunky and the most narrative system I've played. And it really gives me role as the storyteller to
Take someone's hand.
exactly. Yeah, like to give reasonable consequences for the stupid shit players always do. You know, like one of my favorite scenes, we've got it a little later in the show, but Mike shot a werewolf and then tried to pet
it. You made it so sad.
I did. That's another thing I love about that system is it's really, really effective for letting me give you guys hard choices.
Emotional grief.
Yeah. It's I really like Monster because it lets me play. It feels like I'm playing more than running, I guess. It's the most playing kind of running I've done. Like I've got the least to keep track of, and I get the most fun out of it.
Like I do like too the way you manipulate it because it always feels like we're playing through like a movie scene or like an episode in some kind of show or like it just you feel into that world and like you have a goal and like the characters are like, hey, we're gonna have a scene here and explore it with this character, have a scene here, the werewolf in the thing, and you built this tension, but each scene really does feel alive throughout the story too.
Thank you, man.
And yeah, you do like play into those characters of those scenes very well.
Yeah, that's I think that kind of is a nice segue into our next discussion point, though, is we're all very different GMs. And like you were saying, Donnie, my focus, my style is very narrative, very cinematic. I grew up watching movies, I grew up kind of making movies and around movies being made. And so my storytelling is a very visually and cinematically focused style of storytelling. And so that informs how I structure my scenes, how I structure my narrative, how I structure my characters. And because to me, as both a player and a GM, having that narrative feel, that almost over dramatic, slightly intentional, not railroaded at all, because I never know where the hell you guys are going. but every scene feels like it has a purpose to move the story forward is a fun part for me of building these Monster of the Week stories that I do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Donnie, for the games you play, I'll kind of do the same thing you did for me. I really like the way that you've got a very solid structure. It's very clear. You've got that sound mechanical understanding. And I know that I can do anything mechanically. You'll either say yes or no. I know you're going to be right. I know you're going to be fair. And you're very good at creating an overall, like the whole feel of Humblewood and the whole story there. I'm so hooked and invested in that because it's such a human story.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, I can't lie, as always, Key is stealing from like other things. And then for me, like it was like great. I loved Robin Hood growing up. Like let's kind of start there and kind of use those kind of classic motifs and things like that we're all very used to in a story, but then just turn you all loose in it. Like just let it shape the world.
Yeah, Humblewood did not go how you thought it would, did it?
I mean, no. I mean, I know we're gonna look at the like way I planned it, but it's worth looking at the very beginning. You'll see where we started, and I've got like conclusion set to the side, and nothing ever connects to it. But like, it's like this is kind of where I see this story. This is what it's endly about, maybe in some way. But then it was like, okay, well, let's just scope it out. But yeah, like I kind of come at this big story, like, okay, here's the big vibe, here's the feel, and hopefully we can just cope with it.
Mike, I think your GM style, what, in my opinion, you really bring to the table is you are so adaptable. And every game I've ever played with you has felt like a truly living, reactive world where no matter what I did, that would have genuine and realistic ripples and consequences, especially consequences we ignore until we can't. But the way you manage
Yeah.
an absolutely living, breathing storyscape has always fascinated me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way to handle, players I found is to just be ready for anything, right? So if I like to know what's going on in the background, what group is up to what, who's wants to do what, and then just kind of see what you guys do and how they would react to it, and kind of just go from there. Because I can't ever plan what you guys are going to do or even anticipate most of what you do. So we just kind of go in and go from there and kind of, all right, this is what's happening over here. Where are we going?
Okay. I like that. Yeah, it definitely works because some of my favorite moments ever are at your tables.
It's I don't know that I recommend the style for everybody because it's a ton of work to figure out and plan out
Yeah.
and keep track of. But it just I can't stop the brain from spinning, so we just let it go and put it to work.
Well, with that, actually, let's jump over and take a look at what Mike's sheets look like.
All right, yeah. So we've got two. So I pretty much have two different styles of doing it for our kind of main long-running campaigns. I've kind of got a little template that I do, kind of stolen from the what is it, the Lazy DM's Guide or something like that, from Sly Flourish. But it's a pretty much a shorter version of that, right? So we start with I do a little summary of what happened last week to kind of keep my mind fresh, go through the characters, who they are, what they want, their goals, anything like that. And then how are we starting? Because we got to start off with a bang, be it combat or something exciting happening, or resolve some sort of cliffhanger that we left. And then I go through and say, all right, so we're gonna play. Here's where the story started. What are 5, 10 scenes that could possibly happen? Where could they possibly go in the next 2, 3 hours? And then I'll write some notes there, plan out some things that for clues or plot hooks or things like that for you guys to uncover along the way, which can happen kind of anywhere. And then if there's any special loot or NPCs that might come up.
Okay.
And then this guy is for more of like a one shot where it's kind of planned out. So this was from a zombie horde one shot we did. So it starts off with like the scene and the scene setting, and then we go down, and then it goes to the hospital, and then each of that big long mess that comes out is each of the different rooms in the hospital that you could have gone to. So then when we jump around, I can just kind of scroll, and all my notes are right there in order.
Okay.
So for the kind of planned out start to finish story, I like the kind of, I don't know if you call this a mind map or I don't know what this is, but
feels like a flowchart.
Connected mess, I guess. Yeah.
Now,
so it kind of just helps. Yeah, I guess a flowchart is a good thing.
This is Obsidian that you're using, right? This?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's something we'll get into a little later is the tools we use. But this is Obsidian. I've used Obsidian. I really, really like it. I've started using Canva though, because there's a lot more of what I need in that.
But, yeah, this is nowhere near as pretty as yours get.
Yeah. Yeah, but for the way you run, you need the depth and the power of Obsidian because that is
right.
It's so
to
powerful.
Be able to jump to wherever you guys go and find some NPC in some random place that we need to talk to again.
Yeah. So I'll try and remember to drop a link for that down in the comments below. But Obsidian is a note-taking app that I've used in the past really effectively. Mike continues to use to tremendous impact. So we'll make sure to drop a link. Not sponsored. It is just a tool that I think deserves some eyes on it.
Yeah, it's super powerful and flexible, and it can do anything. It just takes some work to get it there.
And there's a bunch of community plugins. It's open source.
Oh yeah.
So you can.
Yeah.
I've seen modules that are entire campaign runners for D&D. It's one of those tools you can get as much out of as you put into.
Yeah.
Next one. Is this just a close-up of some of those boxes?
Yeah,
in your
so
flow
just
chart?
kind of an example of some of those boxes, yeah.
Okay.
So those are just kind of showing, my detailed notes for our zombie game.
Okay.
And then I think, yeah.
The next one, here we go.
So nothing crazy.
And then, yeah, this looks like entering the hot
Yeah,
zone.
and then just kind of a filled out. Yeah, it was from one of our Cyberpunk home game.
Okay. That makes a lot more
for
sense.
some of these notes.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of scenes right here.
Yeah, just kind of the detail that I keep, and this is the detail that I put in a scene to run.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, that's you keep so much depth of information, and I'm always impressed with that. Let's go over to Donnie. Let's start talking about Donnie's sheets. Completely different look. You do these in Canva, right?
Yeah,
Super
I use
pretty.
Canva's whiteboard is what it's called, and yeah, it's just a flowchart tool. There's many different styles and generic templates you can use to match kind of what you're looking for. But yeah, it's visually appealing. It's a little bit more distinctive that way for me. I kind of flow through, like I see where okay, these were kind of areas where something critical happened or a plot line ended as bright red. I'll drop links to all sorts of like any kind of random event charts or like lists of NPCs for locations in there. So where I'm kind of tracking stories and choices and potential scenes, and also just kind of keeping track of, okay, the players chose to do this or this kind of occurred because of that. Like I'll make a note of it in here and trail to that.
Zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see what you're talking about there. And yeah, I'm seeing like nat 20 here, stuff that we rolled. So these are also your notes, right?
Yeah, exactly. I kind of combine both the story and just make it into a living document of where things are going. So yeah, like I do rely a lot on the dice to tell the story. So as the players make certain outcomes, like, okay, great. So that is going to affect the story in a certain way. So I'll put that in there, and that'll kind of start tweaking other events down the chain and things like that. So it's kind of my team attempt to do what Mike's doing, where we're just gridding out the world a little bit. And mine's probably a little less pre-prepared. I definitely I try and have like a couple NPCs for any location, a couple maybe places or like key styles or events or things that define that region or that place. But otherwise, I kind of just leave it to lead where the players take it. And I usually just start with a destination, and it's how you all want to journey to that kind of destination that really gives life to it.
Okay. And then you also,
at least on the least prepared fashion, is how we do it.
Yes, yeah. Questions? We don't need to do that. And then you also take hand-colored notes, right, Donnie?
I do. So I still usually start old school. I like write out my general plot. Like I'll usually write like a 2 or 3 page kind of like, this is the story that we're trying to tell. And that's usually kind of how I start the campaign as well. But I'll color code in like people, places, events, things like that, combats or potential conflicts and things like that. But yeah, I'm definitely old school and have like dozens of like hand spiral notebooks of written notes and campaigns. Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
It's cool.
Guess that means it's my turn to talk about the chaos that goes through my head. So I also use Canva whiteboard, but I use it entirely different than Donnie and Mike do. Gosh, excuse me. My general approach, my philosophy behind prep is I want to know the state of the world and the characters when when the players get there. So I like to go through, and on this, I've got all of my locations listed out in orange on the right there, and then I've got all of my NPCs in yellow on the left there. And I like to do this because it helps me keep the information separate. But I also this is an example of my master screen. This is a more detailed location screen. So each individual NPC gets their own block. Each clue or each thing that is story relevant that the players should see, or I hope they see, goes in green, and then dangers to them go in orange or red. So this way, I can just jump from page to page on my whiteboards to wherever my players are, and I have at my fingertips all of the important information for that scene, everything that's dangerous to them, everybody they're going to meet, and personality details for who they're going to meet. So for me, it's all about how are the characters in my world, my story, reacting to what the players do. And I can get away with not going nearly as deep as you two go because I'm almost always doing 1, 2, or 3 shots. So we're telling a very compact story with my games. So I am lucky that I don't have to go as deep, but I just have to, I feel like, really know my characters on an individual level.
I feel like you do that really well.
Thank you.
Especially because, like I'm thinking of the sheriff and some, or like where we went on the mountain, like one shot. I
San
can't
Juan.
remember quite what. Yep. And like you just came alive. Like you felt like, okay, yeah, we know this character.
I if you've watched a bunch of my stuff, I like sheriff characters. They're almost always one of my favorite characters to play. And little secret for you guys, they're almost never the bad guy in my story. Which, oh me, that doesn't track. But no, I love a good sheriff story. I love a good sheriff character. So that's why my sheriff characters always, I don't know, I have fun playing them.
I think one of my favorite interactions with you as a player was when you were interviewed by the constable in Humblewood.
Oh, like, that was so much fun.
That was
dude.
Really cool.
I wish I had that clip up. Oh, that was
just.
Oh, we were so stupid at Humblewood, and it was absolutely a blast. Oh, yeah. So that's kind of. I find it fascinating how similar, but also how nuanced and different all of our prep approaches are, because we all do use some sort of flow or at least rigid organization, but yours, both of you, it's so much more connected, it's so much more organic, whereas mine is a collection of information for me to access. And that fascinates me, the way that those operate differently.
It's also really interesting, I think, just seeing the 3 side by side here, how, like, I feel like that does in fact look like mine looks like what my brain feels like inside. So like I feel like each of these have our own personality in them. It's really interesting.
Definitely, yeah. I think that's a really good way to put it. Is our prep sheets are very representative of our personalities. I like that.
I think it does show too. Like there's no wrong way to do it. Like
no.
it is about keeping track of vision, but like that's really what it is what do you need help like accessing, and how do you do that?
It actually brings up another good point, though. I think is, why do we play these games? What are we looking for out of these games? Because I think that really informs our GM style. That really informs how we prep and how we approach the whole process of game mastering. Is what is it that I guess is your primary goal running a game, running a session?
I'm curious to hear Mike's answer.
I think for me is I'm very. I think the way I run is very improv heavy. So I think I like be just as surprised as you guys are when things happen. So I think to keep all of us on our toes is, I guess, what I'm trying to do. Just to not ever know where the story is going to go for anybody, and just kind of have it kind of show up, as we play and as the dice roll.
I like that. I could definitely see that playing at your games. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Donnie?
Yeah, I always feel much more like put in situation with Mike, for sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think mine's shaped a lot from my gaming history. So I definitely draw a lot of probably my kind of foundational RPG experiences were The Legend of Zelda 64, which has been something we've been obviously hooked on a little bit lately with my game.
So cool. If you haven't watched our Humblewood, at the very least, watch the last 4 episodes. The whole campaign is great, but Donnie really outdid himself with the conclusion to that arc. It was so much fun to play.
And definitely, so you get that aspect of these temple dives and trying to pull in a couple different gaming aspects into each thing. So having kind of that environmental concern, that logic puzzle, or something along those lines, as well as the big event, what it may be. But then it's also tied into EverQuest, which was a true first time in gaming that I felt like I created the character and I interact with the world. And there were so many little vignette stories in that. Throughout the whole thing, you're I always played it in a way that I'm going to tell my character's story as I sit here and kill the same thing over and over and over again. Why am I doing this? And so it's you had to make up something. Okay, so I'm the elf from blah blah blah, and I do it because I'm for this reason. But so tying those kind of two aspects of how do you take a character, let it feel like their own, and they're living in this space for a reason, but also how do you drive to these kind of gaming events as well?
So that's really cool. That really shows through in the way you run your games, but I hadn't thought about that side of it.
Yeah.
That's very cool, man. I think for me, my goal is building a collaborative story that everybody at the table, or now that we're doing this on stream, that everybody watching gets invested in, gets an emotional, I don't know, reward from, because it's not always going to be feeling good, but maybe you want that excitement or that cliffhanger action or that catharsis. And that's my goal when running a game, is to give everybody who's playing a feeling of agency in really building that story. Because yeah, it's like I've said before, it's so much of my storytelling background goes back to movies, goes back to books and very linear and intentional story experiences. And so yeah, my intention is to give my players something that feels like a linear and intentional story experience, even when I have no idea where they're going to go with it.
That's a great point too. How do you guys bring the player's world creation in? How do you account for that?
And you guys are just so great at throwing things in there that it would be a shame to not include them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why we're all here, right? We all add something to the story when we play. So I think that's a major goal of all of ours, and a major, thing that we all find important, is to make sure that everybody adds things and we're not just playing in something, everyone's bringing something, and incorporating all of those things and just rolling with it.
Yeah, it's that collaborative storytelling that I was talking about, that building it together.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you're. Yeah, I think talking about our network, one of my favorite. Amy does this so well, where she's just like, okay, this is a fact in the world now. And it's always the most ridiculous, off the wall shit, and it makes the world so much more rich, so much more interesting. And I really, Mike, appreciate the way that you just, okay, cool, you incorporate it, and that's part of the world now. And
it's real. Let's go.
There's stuff that has felt like a throwaway line that 3 sessions later comes back and is massively impactful. And as a player, that is such a cool experience.
I'm going to steal her belt. Awesome. Let's go.
A perfect example. Perfect example. Amy stole a belt. Her character Hopscotch stole a belt. Because it was a funny thing to do. And and that one line changed the entire trajectory of our entire campaign.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of, that whole pivot is one of my favorite storytelling moments ever. Just because we were going at Biotechnica, we were chasing after Jessica, and we were trying to get Mary and all of that stuff. And then just all of a sudden, boom, we're in court for a belt.
Hard left.
Hard left. Directly because of something we introduced into the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a similar one to that is the little where we played Night City police officers, that little interlude.
Yes,
same kind of way. All of a sudden we're seeing all these consequences of actions from another perspective, and it was super cool.
Yeah, that was
really cool.
I don't have that clip. I only had time for so many clips, and if it were up to me, I'd just say watch our entire catalog.
We also have so much time.
But yeah, that's incorporating. I feel like Mike is the best at it. Donnie, you do it really well. Because my stories are so limited and so small in scope, it's a lot harder for me to do that. So I really try and give you guys as much agency with your characters as I can to let you have that control. Because I do think it's really important. I think it's very important for players to make meaningful, impactful changes in the world. Because it's everybody at the table's world. And so...
Yeah, it's definitely harder on a smaller scale.
Yeah. So I tend to give a little more leeway than maybe the rules would suggest with what characters can do or gear or stuff, because that's my way of giving the player that agency.
I know a guy mechanic, the luck, do you have this in your pack? It really does help in those, because it's okay, I don't know exactly what you're planning and you don't know what I'm planning. So why would you have asked to put a climbing kit in your bag?
One of my favorite questions is either roll luck for it, or is that something your character would have? Explain that to me. Because that gives you a chance to build out your character a little more, to, especially in a short story, explain who your character is through gear and action, which is show, not tell.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a fun way to do it. I'm going to say. Okay, let's go. Theater of the Mind or maps? Which one do you guys prefer?
Oh, I am definitely the big. Oh, sorry, Mike.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Donnie.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent. I do love maps, and I love the playing on the digital things. And I used to be all about setting up the physical maps and things like that. But the more I've played, D&D, especially D&D, the world starts to feel very fixed, and you're like, great, we charge in and we stand here, and it's all about like how many squares and things like that. Whereas if you just kind of are willing to be a little wishy-washy on like distances, not being about like, let's measure 6 inches to see, or do the Pythagorean theorem to see if you make it. Instead, you're like, that sounds really cool. Like, or you can kind of use it too, even at some story devices. Like, you've got to make a choice because these things are here. Like, it encourages you to tell that story rather than just relying on, is there a picture of a barrel there or something like. So I do love theater of mind the more I do it, just because again it leaves everybody a lot more agency in how is this occurring, what are these movements like, what are the conditions of this like, is it dark, is it see visible, things like that, what tells the best story, makes this most engaging for the players and in this case the viewers as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think I largely agree with you there in that I started very, very interested in maps and VTTs and eventually physical maps and stuff. But the more I played, the more I was starting to feel limited by them, especially with my narrative style. And so I definitely agree that it's much more freeing as a player and as a GM to go theater of the mind. I will say battle maps definitely serve a purpose and have their place, though. Running AL, when everything has to be the same across all the tables, that was a fantastic place for it. That's where I really liked having battle maps and stuff, because it was a lot easier for me as a GM to say, nope, that's not the rules. We're going to move on to the next turn because we've got 3 hours.
Yep. It makes sense. Yeah. And I mean, I've had tables which you needed that rigidity because it wasn't necessarily like we are here on the stream, much more narratively driven and imaginative with what we're wanting to do with our characters. But then again, like you said, other tables, it can be very different and it plays that way.
Yeah, I think it ultimately comes down to your table, because I know if I wanted to play something chunky like Mechton, there's gonna be a map. I never thought I would be the kind of person to make spreadsheets for fun. Mechton Zeta got me making multi-paged referential spreadsheets with drop-down menus that auto-populated and auto-calculate. Like, Mechton is chunky, but it's fun.
So much fun.
Like, oh, I don't think it would make a good stream, unfortunately, because
if you really want to nerd out with numbers and maps and hit locations and distances and speeds and
build costs and scaling costs, because there are metrics for if you want to make it 10% bigger, 20% bigger, if you want to, add 5 damage to your warheads, and it's the chunkiest game I've ever seen. I've only heard of one game that's chunkier. And that is, oh god, it is a World War II.
Yeah, but that's a fun one. I do enjoy the chunk.
The Campaign for North Africa is the only game I've ever heard of that is chunkier than Mechton Zeta. And the Campaign for North Africa, the game, is chunkier than actually running the Campaign for North Africa was. It goes into deeper detail than the generals had to manage. I was reading about it. It covers a 3-year section of the war. If you were to actually play it, it would take like 5. Like, it is insane. It's, if you want a fascinating piece of wargaming and tabletop history, read about the War for North Africa. Because, it makes Mechton Zeta look simple.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that one is. I don't want to play that one. That one is too chunky for me.
Yeah, no way. Like, I like the idea, but definitely put it in a game format where it's accessible. I can't do that investment.
Yeah, yeah, like you're managing water rations for individual troops in your entire army. It's insane.
That's a lot of record keeping.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't know. Yeah, and it used to be done pen and paper. The game came out before PCs were commercially available. So yeah, it's a fascinating bit of gaming history. So I really recommend checking that out if you're at all interested in gaming history.
Feels more like a capstone project.
So I've got one for you guys, and I don't know if it's on the schedule per se, but how is it that you build in conflict to your campaigns? Like, how do you kind of visualize that? Where do you put it in your planning process?
Are you talking like combat encounters or narrative conflict?
I mean, honestly, it could be either. Like, kind of that engaging moment, I guess, is mostly like whatever you're building to that specific episode. Like, how do you build for that? Because obviously we do have a very heavy improv group and it is hard to plan, but at the same time, like, I feel like those are the moments you kind of have to plan it, otherwise they can lose their impact a little bit. Like, I try and usually have a couple different, like, okay, if they do this, if they do that, if they do this. But how do you all kind of prep that peak moment, that climatic moment, or like that point of the episode or game that day?
That's a really good question. I think for me, because again, I've got that very narrative cinematic focus, I will pick the locations that I know they have to go to. Like for San Juan County Slasher, you had to go to the werewolf's den. Like there was no way that story could go that didn't involve you going to the den. And so I knew that encounter. And again, I know my locations and I know my characters. Because I don't know how you guys are going to come in there. Are you going to trip all of the alarms? Are you going to sneak in? Are you going to come in with the sheriff? So I just try to know my locations that conflict is likely. Push you guys there with clues, with narrative, with NPC stuff, and then react to what you guys do once you get to that conflict location.
Makes sense. How about you, Mike?
I think doing longer form stuff for the most part, I like to pull from your character backstories to set up kind of what the initial conflict is. So I'll kind of set up a world where there's, some kind of opposing groups about something, and make sure that somehow multiple of your characters are in the middle of this mess. And then from there, I kind of set you guys out, and I don't really worry too much about what big climactic things are going to happen, and kind of tease those out, as they come up or as they kind of build, and see what you guys kind of gravitate towards, what story hooks you bite onto, what other pieces of backstory get thrown out, and kind of just build them, on the fly that way. I don't know that I've had many campaigns go to where I expected the end to go. So, they've all been kind of major changes, as we see what interests the group as a whole.
Makes sense. What about you, Donnie?
So I do think I might be probably then the most linear of us in some ways. Like, I think with your one-shot styles, you kind of have to be a little bit,
like I know you're going to fight the werewolf. That's the conflict in this story.
Otherwise, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's like, what's the conflict internally for you guys? Like that's where the fun comes for me. Like, okay, yeah, you're gonna fight the werewolf. You're gonna feel bad about it though.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like I start with kind of the conflict myself. Like I look at it as like, here's the reason why I'm telling this story. And so like I kind of find the way to, and I do break it down because we do tend to do it in pretty standardized sets of time. So I like to try and kind of aim for a story beat to keep that kind of moving forward. And so like I usually am like, okay, so what are we looking at as a big conflict overall because we're telling long form. But then I start to look like each week, I'm like, okay, so I need something to build this around. Now, whether that's where it's going to go or not, it's hard to say. But usually it's like, here's the big fat carrot on a stick. Here's a couple other ones and seeing where we want to go. But usually it's that I like, how do we get to that big conflict? Like, is where I get my branches a lot of times. So we'll probably still run into that big conflict, but we may not get there from the same direction. So I think I do kind of split the two. I look at like Greg's very much like, I've got 2 hours. I'm going to tell this story. But then I try and feel like, okay, what did this also spawn out of their choices today?
Yeah, that's definitely something like I really like running 2 shots, 3 shots. That's where I'm most comfortable, where I feel the most effective as a storyteller or a story guide. More because it's not just me telling the story; it's the whole table telling the story.
I like that term.
Yeah, thank you.
I like story guide.
But I want to get better at telling or guiding these long-term stories, at crafting these bigger narratives like you two do, because I'd love to see what happens to your agents after, they encounter a werewolf. I'd love to see what happens to the ghost hunters from the Holt County Horror. How do all of them process everything that went down in that one? And so, yeah, it's definitely something I'd like to explore because you guys do it so well. But I also really like telling my tight little compact, giving you guys these tight little stories to explore.
I mean, it definitely feels in line with your cinematic kind of narrative structures that you feel most comfortable in that kind of 2 to 3 shot range.
Makes sense, yeah.
I don't know how you keep a bigger story, like Donnie does, and have beats happen, in a specific order. That just blows my mind
No,
of how that can happen.
That's something that I really think Donnie does well. Is he very effectively structures sessions. Like it's something you're really good at, dude. Is getting a very intentional feel and a solid cliffy endpoint for all of your sessions that you run.
Yeah. And that is definitely a goal. Like it is something I try and build to, like, is okay, so I've got to, and that comes from the depth of system, I think, a little bit, is like I can get a good feel like, okay, so if we are going to build towards this kind of conflict, that's probably going to take this amount of time to dice out. And then you look at, okay, just like you do, Greg, set up scenes throughout that, like, okay, how do we eventually get there? Like, what potential ways might you interact with these things? And then usually it's a lot more, my improv comes in with like characters for sure. Like, whereas yours is much more characters are structured, what that character kind of wants to do, and you're like, how does the players want? I very much am just like, here's the world, here's the overall flow, but like, let's find out what they do to get here. I don't know, and I can't even think out a plan for it.
Yeah, that's this group, and I've never played with a more talented or passionate group of storytellers than the team at Thunderleaf. It's every single person at our table brings so much and such a unique approach to playing these games together and building these worlds together. And we're so lucky to be a part of this because we get to create these amazing narratives, these phenomenal stories together, and explore them with our favorite people. And like now with you two, we get to share that. And that is so cool because I love the way everybody at our table tells stories, and the fact that we can share that and give that to other people is awesome.
And maybe we can inspire more people to just try to just run something,
Exactly.
have some fun.
Yeah, I think that's something I really like
if
that
we can do it.
Is so many creators in the tabletop space, in the, I don't know what you call it, actual play space, are locked into one system, or they started at Dungeons and Dragons and now they have their own system. That's you're either locked into D&D or you're post D&D because you got too big with it feels like. And something I really like about us is, yeah, we're playing D&D right now, but it's not mainline D&D. And we do make an effort to look at a lot of different games. And that's something I really like about this whole group is we're like, ooh, let's try that. Let's try that. Let's try that.
Yeah, and I think it just makes us all better players too, just because it's when you're not so forced to think about mechanics, you think much more about like, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
What is this character doing? And then how does that work in these rules? And so I think it just makes us stronger all around.
Yeah, that ties back to a couple of weeks ago. One of my gaming tips was try a system you haven't before, because it's going to open up your eyes to new things, new ways to interact with character and story, and also it's going to give you more to appreciate about your favorite. Like, you don't know what you love about it compared unless you've got something to compare it to.
I like to steal little mechanics from a bunch of other games and shove them into other games.
Yeah.
Like the luck is one. I like the supply rolls are fun. Well,
that's something I think we do really well, and I appreciate that we have the freedom to do this, is we're playing the game and building the story we want to at our table, and the system is a tool. It is not law. It is not writ. It is not something that we have to be beholden to. It is a tool for a group of friends to have fun building a story.
Yeah. Yeah, like I know we've stolen the Star Wars like force points into our home D&D game at points, and like, yeah, we generally take like, oh, that was a cool mechanic. Let's keep using that in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at the end of the day,
it's style over substance.
Bingo. Style over substance. Rule of cool. For me, if I'm having fun telling stories with my friends around the table, that's a win. And the skeleton that hangs over is not important.
Yeah.
That said, like, different skeletons are very important for what kind of story and experience you want. Like Cyberpunk, D&D, and Monster are entirely different storytelling experiences for everybody at the table.
Yeah, they all feel very different.
But also, like, we don't play true by the rules. I think our D&D is the closest to rules is written. Because I know Monster of the Week, that's guidelines for me.
Let's be honest, your players are even worse about it than you by a long shot.
Oh, but you know what? That's something I love, though, is that proves that's such an effective point, that the rules really are just there as a tool for you to build stories with your friends. Like, the fact that, and this is also another nod to Mike as a GM and really all of our GM team, we can say, here's a character sheet for a system you've never played, and everybody at our table, cool. And they roll with it.
We're playing in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Like, there have been times where I'm like, oh shit, I've got to get their characters to them. We're live in half an hour.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, I love that. Like, it really forces us, the fact that we don't care too much about the system. like I feel like as a storyteller, it's almost freeing. Like some of our favorite moments have been because like Ray is our newest RPGer, and like you don't know what you can't do yet, and so like you do whatever you want, which is exactly what I always want as a dungeon master. Is like I just want to know
100%.
what is occurring in your brain. Like, what do you think you want to do in this? Like, go crazy. Like, have that imaginative motive and like let's work it out on the dice and see how this turns out. Like, is there consequences? Like,
that's
how's it gonna play?
definitely something I get myself into trouble with. Is I get so wrapped up in the improv on both sides of the screen that sometimes I will act out a scene before rolling it. And I hate when I do that, and then it's like, oh, never mind. I went up and I farted.
I tripped.
And so that's definitely something I need to be better at, because I've noticed, especially when I'm running, there will be stretches where we don't roll. Like,
sure.
And
see, and I'll be honest, that's one I just took as part of kind of the monster of the week system, is that it's not a roll heavy, but
it's not nearly as roll heavy because you're not rolling for nearly as many things as you are in a Cyberpunk or a D&D. But I am lighter than I think a lot of storytellers are when it comes to how much I ask you guys to roll. And part of that, I'm going to blame you guys, because everybody at our table is so effective at telling their character's story that I forget I need to have you roll for shit, because you're nobody here power games either. Everybody here loves playing realistic characters. Like, we love to hamstring ourselves for effective storytelling.
We really do. Like, I don't even want to roll this. Can I please fail this?
We've all said that. We've all said, hey, can I just fail this?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when we played 10 Candles at the retreat, I think only one person at the table was trying to help us, and that was the guy who was joining us from who's not on the stream with us. One of our friends. He was the only one who was trying to help us, and we were all just like, no, fuck us. That was such a fun game. I really liked 10 Candles. We've got to figure out how to get that one on stream. The candles can't be at my place, though. That's the only rule.
So that's a good point too. Like, that's a system that's entirely but has huge game mechanics as well.
Yeah.
But like, and obviously Monster of the Week doesn't have. We don't use a lot of mechanics necessarily, but like, how do you guys like to use the mechanics to tell stories? Do you rely on RNG at all in your own storytelling or world building? Like, there's obviously tons of table type systems that you can roll up a, tavern or something. Like, do you guys use any of those kind of tools?
I tend not to, again, because so many of the stories I'm telling are very small and narrow things, and I put Easter eggs and stuff in there. I don't know if anybody caught it, but the restaurant that you guys were eating at in the San Juan County Slasher used to be called Leho Fuchs, which is a reference to the Warren Zevon song "Werewolves of London." If you guys had gone and
catch it,
if you looked at
those are cool little things.
Some of the newspaper clippings, you would have seen the restaurant had changed names about 5 years ago because the Sun wanted to make it more modern. But yeah, like, if you were keyed into the weird way my brain works, you would have seen Leho Fuchs and said, "There's a fucking werewolf in town."
That's really cool.
Like, I definitely do have jokes kind of hidden in mine, like, that are like to my, I'm gonna laugh at that because I know what I'm including. Like, stupid ways to kind of enjoy my world by myself as well. Like, but I definitely get where you're going.
I've enjoyed that in Humblewood.
Yeah.
Those are cool little Easter egg kind of things hidden in there.
Yeah, I don't.
Or slapped in the face. Yeah.
Yeah, like when I am running a bigger campaign that's not preset like an adventure league, yeah, random number generators for all sorts of stuff for sure. But for my Monster of the Week games, that's a much smaller thing. I'd rather have it generated intentionally, if that makes sense.
Sure. So one of my favorite tools I've been using is the player created. Like, I intentionally poll you guys, like, hey, tell me something about the world. Like,
yes, love it.
Yeah, no, that's like I love what you did with Nut Hurling League and the crochet competition.
Yes.
Yeah, that was like the way. Yeah, that's just cool.
Like turning the burrow over, like the undercity of the tree to Amy, just like, great. Tell me about where you're going home to. Like, I don't want to tell that story. Like, this is the place you thought up. Like, it'll fit in any kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like,
the other thing I like about it is that guarantees your world is going to be more authentic and more dynamic because you're having those different backgrounds influencing how it was built. And so that's going to show through in how that world feels to inhabit and interact with. And I love what Amy does for her character story building and stuff. Like, she's so impressive to me as a role player, and I love playing at the table with her because I never know what to expect, and it's always so much wilder.
But like at the same time, like the depth, like, and I think this is a lot just to attribute to how quick an improver Amy may be as well. But like, there's always like a third layer to okay, and and there's always more depth there. Like, it's just like Amy the person.
Yes,
like, you never really know what that background
exactly.
is.
There's always something else you never expected. No, it's very cool. Like, yeah, I love that. Sorry, brain fart for a minute there. Okay, here's another one I've got kind of written down. That'll play off of what you were just talking about, Donnie. Do you guys have a favorite or least favorite mechanic?
We know Mike's favorite.
Yep. I love my luck.
I think my favorite comes from Call of Cthulhu, and it's Call of Cthulhu or Alien. It's a sanity system. I love a good sanity mechanic.
Those are cool.
Because so often what we're dealing with in these games would break a normal mind. And so having something I can roll and play with mechanically to represent that and give me, as a role player, okay, cool, there's a score and it's going down and I get to play into that? Like, that's so much fun. Like, Mike, I think the first time I played Call of Cthulhu was with you, and by the end of the night, my character was a train.
What?
You were an interdimensional train.
Yep, I turned into an interdimensional train.
Because you found a god in a cabinet.
Yep.
Was your character's name Blaine?
Oh, that was a good one.
No, he was... I don't remember. Some early American feeling name. Fought in the Great War.
Yeah, that was a fun game.
Yeah, I love Call of Cthulhu. One of my favorite streams right now, they're just wrapping up, is Time for Chaos over on the Glass Cannon Network. That is very well played Call of Cthulhu. They're much more rigid storytellers than we are. They're guy who runs their game, Troy, is much more, these are the rules, this is my game. And it works for their table, but it's a very different style than what we do. But that is some of my favorite Call of Cthulhu to watch. That's not us.
So what's some unliked mechanic or something about these systems that you guys don't like?
I will never, have never, and cannot like an encumbrance mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's too much bookkeeping.
Like,
yeah,
it doesn't add anything to the game for me. And if I was playing at the right table on the right game, like I could see encumbrance working in something like Morkborg, where it's gritty and dark and heavy. But it would have to be an extremely gritty and intentional game. Outside of something like Morkborg, encumbrance is just punishment for the sake of punishment. Like, I play Dark Souls. I get punished all the time. Mondays and Sundays, I get punished for 2 hours for your enjoyment, and I still don't fuck with encumbrance because it's too punishing. Like, yeah.
No reason.
So I'll throw traveling, like getting from point A to point B. Like there's so many different like ways to handle that. And a lot of systems have them making, well, you travel 20 miles in X amount of time. Like so boring. Like there is nothing ever interesting. At most you're gonna throw like random encounters or something in there.
You're gonna get a pack of goblins or some wolves or
like I think Mike does it really well to like drive, as well as because I think Cyberpunk is a very futuristic system, so there is a lot of sense in cars and action. But like we've had some pretty engaging travel experiences. But yeah, they're, especially for like fantasy worlds, it's like great, you trudged for 3 days. Like
no, that's a fair one. Like I don't think I've ever, even when I was running Adventure League, I don't think I used travel mechanics. You're there. Like
So like I tried running. Oh, what was that, Mike?
I was gonna say I think it would be interesting, like I figure there's got to be a way to do it, and I think it could be an interesting time to have some player interactions, some kind of RP that way. But I mean, it's just so hard to make it interesting.
Well, that's something that I'm kind of thinking of is a lot of our home games, like especially the Black Dagger game. There's a ton of travel time in that game, but because everybody at the table role plays, it never feels like a slog. Like we're always having good conversations, moving character things forward and moving story elements forward when we're traveling in that game. We also don't, like roll random encounters and it's like, okay, you're on the road for 2 days. But we'll role play camp that night because we prefer to role play it.
There's things to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, Go on.
That definitely makes sense. Like that is an example of it. And yeah, I guess it does depend on the group a little bit. But even then I feel like, we're like in your camp, you guys are spending time. But I've in the past ran like Icewind Dale for D&D. It's very much about like using the environment as part of the challenge. But even in that one, eventually, like players, if you're confronted with like the consistent and difficult of travel or encumbrance and things like that, finding food, like eventually players find a way to hand wave it anyways, in my experience.
We got Goodberry. We've got Layman's Tiny Hut. That's, so many of the powers your characters are given in these games are specifically so they don't have to deal with the mundane. And so mechanics for the mundane feel counterproductive to me.
Yeah, roll for bathroom,
Oh no, I missed the toilet.
Another cool mechanic that just popped into my head is like the minion. So you could just throw like hordes at the players, and they've got 1 hit point or whatever, but you get to feel that, like, get to feel powerful. You get to really like flex your muscles,
slinging through waves,
that heroic moment. Yeah, that's a cool one too.
Yeah, I think that is one of my favorites, especially they've kind of come up with some special rules for that in my choice systems and things like that. But a lot of it has come from I know from some of the podcasts I've followed, come from different DM groups that have done exactly what we're doing, where it's, I need my group to feel this in this interaction. Like those minions is like, how do I make you guys feel like you're badasses hacking and slashing your way through a combat? Like it doesn't need to be like a drawn out 3-4 turns each to deal with this one thing. Like, no, you're an awesome hero. Like, slash through that twiggy creature. Like
that actually brings up. Do you have a point off of that, Mike?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say that makes me think of another question I wanted to ask you guys. Fudge. Do you guys fudge?
I used to. I have come away from it, and as I've learned the system better. So that's where that one came from. Is like I used to always think like, oh no, you don't. I can't hit that character that hard. Like it's only the first round. Well, now I kind of understand it better. D&D's designed to have very hard hit, quick. Oh god, now all of a sudden it's critical, just like that. Whereas and it's just more fun that way. Like I don't need to decide. Let randomness happen. Like that's what builds a little bit of excitement sometimes. I will sometimes fudge the like, okay, you've got this thing down to 1 hit point, but you've made an incredible, like, 1 hit point to finish it. Like, sometimes that character's got that heroic moment, and it doesn't make sense to be like, well, I poked it with a dagger and it fell over.
Like, I tend to be the same. I generally don't fudge. I will not fudge in like boss battles. That is the dice are telling that story. And anytime a character's life is on the line, definitely. But I'm the same. Like I'm not going to make you guys go 3 more rounds when you're down to the last goblin and like either you're going to crush it and it's going to be just a waste of everybody's time, or nobody's going to be able to roll above a 5 and it's going to be a waste of everybody's time. Like,
yeah.
I will definitely fudge like, okay, that guy's got 3 hit points left, or you gave a really, really, really fucking cool description and it's enough to kill him, but you were 1 shy of the AC. Maybe, like, again, if it's a minor enemy or something.
Yeah, like I kind of view it too as like rewarding that narrative play. Like,
bingo.
You went for this and you rolled pretty good. Like it makes sense that because you've got this expertise that gives a little boost. Like just like vice versa. Like you did something dumb and the character's like across the room in a pile of barrels. You know what? No, you didn't hit.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
He's got and there's mechanics for that. Like, I'm giving him cover essentially because you did something dumb, or vice versa. Like
the other area I've found myself fudging is bad guy HP. And that one will either, oh shit, this is supposed to be a meaningful encounter, like to the story. His health bar just doubled. Or, oh shit, these guys are going to mop the fucking floor with this and it's not going to be fun for anybody. And sometimes I will reduce enemy HP. I've done that like 2 or 3 times. Almost never. It's almost always to make it harder for you guys.
Yeah, usually it is that way. But I've also been going the route of using that as an opportunity to then like divert the action. Like in Humblewood, you guys started just chewing through guards in our first like encounter with the Nepo baby. And so I before I even made this character's first turn, I'm like, he's gonna turn and run. I did something kind of similar with the mafiosos, like the 2 little toughs.
Yeah, outside of
Like,
splats.
instead of just like, let's stand here and punch each other to death, like that's not gonna happen. Like if you beat up 2 thugs and just axe his buddy, like he's not going to just stand there and fight to the death. He's going to get the hell out of there. Like, and so like, yeah, using it that way.
Then come back later.
Yeah, no, I really like that too. Like that, I like when enemies run away and use health potions and do all this. Like, I hate it in a video game, but in a storytelling environment, that's what a character would likely do.
It makes sense.
It makes the story that much deeper, that much more engaging and rewarding.
The other way is either that or like multi-tiered bosses encounters. So like A and then B.
Those are
this is
cool.
going too quick. Throw in here's the C, like things like that. Like, and you can kind of make that decision. Like maybe we get to C, or maybe it's something that carries out later type thing. Gives you kind of a couple options.
Yeah.
Is that something you plan in advance? Like, will you have like an A, B, and kind of C form for boss battles, or is that on the fly?
No, a lot of times I'll usually think out like, okay, here's kind of how we do A. Like usually it's that I'll find like a cool character sheet or like boss stat sheet and be like, this is really cool. This is how this character kind of fits my world though. Like even though it's not necessarily tailored toward it, or like how does this fit the creature that I've been describing already in the adventure? And then look at like, okay, well, these abilities make sense here. And maybe then we'll tweak that mechanic a little bit to match up something else to build that second one. It's definitely something I've thought through, even if it's not always like 3 separate encounters per se.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Like I would say the water boss temple we just did would be something similar to that. Where it's like, okay, so I view this encounter in kind of stages of like the creatures hiding and stealthing and distracting and kind of attacking the shadows. Oh, okay. And then there's now we're gonna go toe to toe, like, and he's gonna try and escape through that. And then there's kind of that final like, okay, all bets are off, everything's on the table, let's go fight, like stage of it too.
Yeah, that was a cool fight. I really liked all of the temple fights, but the water temple one definitely felt like a water temple fight. It was difficult, it was scary, it was slightly frustrating in a good way. Like
like a good Zelda game.
Exactly. No, the whole temple was such a cool cap to the Humblewood arc. Like that was a very cool,
so cool
set piece.
Thank you guys.
I think my characters. Catch going at it. I think my characters definitely go down more than anybody else's on the network. I play my characters. I know I'm putting them in harm's way, but most of my characters want to be there, so it's intentional. It's not that I'm just that bad at TTRPGs. But something
I swear there's a reason.
We started doing with your games, Donnie, is blind death saves. And that is one of my
that's really cool.
favorite things we've done, because when you go down as much as I do, it starts to get kind of like, especially when you can see your rolls, it's not exciting. It's not this close thing. But I remember one time, shortly after we started doing it, you told me after the fact that it was one roll away from permadeath for my character. And like, it's so cool to see how different that feels not knowing. And that's one of my favorite mechanic changes we've done.
So I think that one too helps me as a storyteller. So again, I'm very much mechanics driven with my stories. Like by taking that role out of the player's hand, it lets me kind of build that anxiety and stress. Like a lot of times I'll give some clues, like you'll see like the blood seems to be like rhythmically pulsing, or like, there's some kind of visceral effect if the characters are trying to look at it. Like it makes people make more decisions than maybe just, great, I'd go over and fast heal.
Yeah,
maybe it's that they look at the character first.
I've got 2 turns.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels so much more dynamic and dramatic.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think the great example of that too was it was our home game, but your character was kind of repeatedly getting kind of thrashed down to the ground, and it, like, coming just to that point where it was like, if he hits you once more, it's over.
And those
and everybody was just
that was so stressful because that's like, he kept going down and kept rolling death saves, and that was the most scared I've ever been for a character, because he very, very easily could have very permanently died right there. And it's one of my favorite moments in the campaign. Like, I would have been crushed if he had died, but it would have been one of the most amazing things ever. Like, I'd be devastated if Gal went down. Love him. He's probably my favorite character I've ever made.
He is wonderful.
He is a swashbuckler rogue who picked up a couple levels in Bard and absolutely refuses to acknowledge that he can do magic.
It's the best part.
Like, he's healed people. He's brought people back from death saves. And no, I can't do magic. I put a Band-Aid on him.
It's a lot of fun.
I gotta say, I love playing stupid characters. And you have to be intentional to play a character consistently. Like, to always play them in the same way of stupid takes intent. Like, Static he's dumb in a lot of ways, like, especially with trusting people and stuff, but I very much focused on a consistent brand of stupid for him, and that's something that I have a lot of fun with as a player, is getting into those character bits like that. I can't wait to see Zero Humanity Static in season 2. Oh, that is fun. We just started talking about season 2 for our Cyberpunk campaign. We are getting stuff moving for that, and I'm excited, y'all. It's gonna be a good one. Campaign 1 was off the rails. It is 20 of the craziest episodes of Cyberpunk I've ever seen, and I cannot wait to see where it goes, because I had no idea where it was going to go. But speaking...
Yeah, I kind of love that aspect, too. The way that, like, Mike kind of is letting the story, like, hang a little bit,
yeah.
too.
Oh,
like...
yeah. The Cliffy... Like, we don't know what's really going on. We've gotten some clues, but we have no idea what's actually happening. Mike does.
There's stuff moving in the back.
But that...
Maybe it'll come up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Maybe we'll find it. Or maybe it'll go somewhere totally different. Who knows?
It probably will. And then the consequences of the things we ignored will come back and bite us in the ass.
I just plan on staying in jail.
Fair.
Did push-ups today.
There we go. I do want to get into some of the we are kind of getting into the back half hour, so I do want to go into some of our favorite scenes from guys, we've been doing this for almost a year.
Yeah.
Crazy is that we've been doing this for nearly a year.
Time flies.
It really does. So I think we were just talking about the trial. So this is one of my absolute all-time favorite moments from the campaign.
In response to the request for formal discovery, not only did we hear nothing from Mr. Dimwitten's office, but we did get a response from Ms. Dinovich, which was crying, laughing emoji. Oh my God, I love this. If you would please
the way that
show that to the court.
Mike and Ray used our actual text messages Like our actual text messages was unreal. It was one of the most.
Damn it, Ray!
It was so cool. Like we were all floored when you did that.
That is exactly what Amy said when we received that.
Props to Donnie for getting dressed up.
Yes, that was
appreciated, sir.
I am the best lawyer. That was so
Second
place
place.
moment.
Some behind the scenes bit is I got a series of text messages from Ray where it started with, "Tell me if you hate this idea," and then went into I submitted a request for discovery. In a rare event, the likes of which I've never seen, the defendant responds with a crying laughing emoji, says she loves all of this. You can't reply with the crying laughing emoji when you hit with discovery requests. Was the best series of text messages I've ever received.
See, and I love too that, and I do love this aspect even in like other games that I've ran, is like developing the story outside the knowledge or the scope of just the game. Like, that you like, okay, let's have like a week where you guys are planning stuff on your own with each other and me about what's going to happen in the game. Like, it did, like, we all participated in building it, and it wasn't necessarily scripted because we didn't know what the other parties were doing. But it was just, it did come together so well, and it built the world so much more.
Yeah. Like, all I got, Smitty wasn't a character that I came up with. I got the name from Amy, and that was what I built the entire character off of, was the name. And she had no idea how I was building the character. Like, I do blame her a little bit for that name. But yeah, that was such a cool, like, that was a really fun 2 weeks where we were all like talking outside of the game about the game and then getting to play what we've been talking about. Like, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, and the way that like divided group up, like A versus B, like it was like PvP, but for role play.
Yeah,
like
it was PvP role play, which was so cool. And I got my ass handed to me. That was, oh my god, Ray did so good with that.
Yeah, Ray did so much prep work.
Oh, like she could have done an actual
Our chat was blowing up.
Like, that was insane. I was so impressed with everything she did for that. Like, that was that was insane.
And every message was, "I feel so bad doing this, but
and I'm gonna do it anyway."
Whatever amazing idea she had, because it's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Another one of my favorite Cyberpunk. The brain fart. Cyberpunk clips. With Static's mom, we had just found out that she was on a very powerful mind control drug. The first stop on this little road trip of ours, this family reunion, as it were, is Detox Junction. We're gonna get you off of this Lucidate drug.
Are you on something?
They've got.
I thought we raised you better than that.
You threw me for a loop with this one, Mike. Like, Mary, you're on drugs, trying to confront Mary, and as your son, on drugs. It's a very difficult conversation for me to have. But drugs are bad, Mary. That was another one of those really fun moments where not done in moderation. The drug improv and the way you handle right now is very bad. Just hit me. Let's do a clip of Donnie. Okay, yeah, that's what this one is. This is a good clip. This is.
Can anyone draw? What if we put up flyers of
this
sapling
is from our Humblewood
here
campaign
and
with
said, "Help! I don't know who I am or where I am.
The stamp.
Come find me. I'm lost." maybe they'll.
This is one of my favorite GM reactions to our nonsense.
It's worth a try. Yeah, let's
Donnie's reaction here.
Let's do that tonight, and then break at the dawn. That makes sense to everybody else?
So we're making posters of Sapling Albert, drawn by
Asking for
Sapling
help.
Albert, asking for people to help himself.
Help him. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure I followed that line.
It should at least confuse them.
I'm confused.
One thing I love about all of our streams, right? We laugh so much together. Who am I?
I have, well, so we have.
Yeah, you definitely tell we're all having fun.
You can put it on the.
Do you guys
We just
plan for
mash
any
his
of the?
face into
Like,
the
do you try
paper.
to slide any humor into it?
No, I never plan
So we're
jokes
making a
or gaffes or
Sapling
anything
Albert
like that. It's
stamp.
all spread off of what everybody else at the table's doing.
I think I'm gonna make a wisdom save.
So I usually click on to certain ideas for sure. Like, I find this hilarious
Great
and
idea, guys.
stupid, so I'm gonna incorporate it in my
Surely it'll work.
character. Like terribly enough, and it's stupid and immature, but like
I'm gonna
I
cast
love
disguise
Skull's
self.
joke about
And look,
hopscotch is
Sapling
third
Albert.
leg. Like, just
We can
always was my. I'm like, yep, that's fine. That's gonna be part
instead
of it.
the rotting face.
I didn't want it to be like.
It would've been a
I
little
just feel like
goofy,
that this is just part of a
probably.
linguistic breakdown, but like,
And that goes
So I
back
think at this
to
point,
the
the right
first
next step
session,
is
the
to have
pre-campaign session with Skrull.
Everybody else
yeah,
make a
So that's been part of him the whole time.
See who draws the best Sapling Albert poster.
but in general, I try not to plan it, but I tend to definitely focus a little bit more on the goofiness. Depends on the character a little bit, but Skrull in particular is a creature of chaos, and like a lot of it is crouched, and I think he just comes from a different understanding of the world, like, and so not everything is gonna like connect the same way to him.
I love Skrull. He is he's one of my favorite characters, and the bromance between Static and Skrull, the whole chapter 1, and it was heartbreaking when the bromance was shattered.
And you know, that was probably one of the best moments for him. Like, was just oh, suddenly all the goofiness, all the funniness. Oh, there is something serious here.
Yeah, no, that was a really, like, as a role player and as a story builder, that was one of my favorite moments, Donnie, where that surgery went wrong. Like,
yeah,
that was such a cool moment at the table. And it was so cool for both of our characters, I think, because we both, I think, did a really good job of genuinely playing our characters and how they would react there. And even though, like, I know you and I both want the bromance to bloom, that was such an impactful moment. And I can't wait to continue to explore that as we get back into Cyberpunk.
Yeah, like that's where one of those kind of like fixations for Skrull, where I'm like, okay, this is funny, and I think Skrull finds this funny, was like every opportunity Skrull's gonna get, he's gonna encourage people to cut off limbs and like replace them with cybertech. And so here I'm joking about this, and then we flub a dice roll. Like,
Yeah.
And so again, mechanics kind of shaping the story for me. Like, I was like, oh, I did cut his leg off. Like,
Yeah.
The surgery went wrong, and I did. Like,
that's somewhere going back to our fudging discussion. I will never fudge player rolls or DCs for that shit. Like, you get what you get on your dice. And it's because of moments like that, because that result was so much more interesting, so much more of a rewarding story to be a part of because of that flub.
Yeah.
Like, if Static had just had his leg fixed, that wouldn't have been
where's the
interesting.
consequence?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's not very interesting for
It
the
would have
story.
just been a thing that happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now Static, he's down to 0 humanity because of 2 dice rolls, because the flub surgery roll and then a maxed out humanity loss roll. And it's such a cool thing. I mean, that's why we play, right? Is to see what story the dice puts in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that story. I love Static and Scrawl, and I cannot wait to get back to those 2.
So I like to keep the world as good.
No, go, Mike.
I was gonna say I like to keep the world as kind of straight as I can, because I know you guys are gonna bring any of that chaos and levity to it.
Yeah, something I very intentionally do when I'm running Monster of the Week is I try so fucking hard not to laugh at what you guys are doing and not to joke with you, because it's so hard because you're funny motherfuckers. But it's my job as the keeper to keep the tone of the story, and for the horror to be effective, I have to be locked into that horror tone. And it is kind of fun. Like, it's very difficult not laughing with you guys, but it's super fun when you guys are all laughing and joking and goofing. I'm like, okay, cool. Now the monster's here because you just spent 5 minutes goofing. Like, getting to stay in tone while you guys are out of it and then hit you with the consequences of that, that's fun for me as a GM.
Consequences.
Right?
Yeah, I love too, like, when you all get hooked into role playing and stuff too. And it's like, okay, so you've got this situation that you put yourself in, and you guys start joking around in character even as well. Like, it's like, and I'm in the meantime like making like rolls. Like, okay, they did that. They did that. Yeah,
I do love rolling as a GM just behind the screen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it means something, sometimes it doesn't.
Is it me just fidgeting, or is it me actually rolling?
Yeah, or does it mean something? Yeah.
It's all about the face.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing with the blind death rolls, is not reacting if you get a 20 or a 1.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys have anything? What was that?
I was probably about to ask the same thing you had, Craig.
Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about? Yeah, no, we hit all of the things I think I wanted to hit.
Do you have a favorite moment?
Oh, shit. I do have one of my favorite moments. Yeah, let me pull that up. It's a bit long because of the way that I do my narrative stuff. But, Mike, I think you'll recognize this favorite moment. You hear it getting closer and closer. And all of a sudden, you can hear scraping paws on stone. You can hear ragged breathing. And then it stops. And it's one of the things I think is the strength of the monster system is one of the rules is let your players make soft moves. 5 minutes. If they screw that up, you get to make a hard move. 10 minutes. And that's that kind of, I'll give you a choice.
Like
and then
the
if you
light on
make
and
one that
flash
would
it up
be stupid, you lose a hand.
Entrance way a little bit.
As soon as you do that,
and we inevitably will.
You hear this group, we always will. Guttural roar. We always make we make the narratively interesting choice. That's what I tell myself.
I like that better.
Brain
That's a much better way to put it.
Comprehend what is suddenly.
I like that we make the dumb move.
Your flashlight was filling dark corridors, but now powering almost. It makes sense though. It's not just like we're being jackasses or dumbasses. We're playing our character. We just. I think we're very good at playing genuinely flawed giant people. Claws 6 inches long, massive teeth, as we are. 3 gaping bullet wounds.
Yeah, sometimes I worry that I really enjoy playing the psychotic clown bozos. a little too much.
You do love your bozos, and you shoot.
I do love bozos.
Poor Shade. Both of you. Unleash.
That was a fun game.
Your attacks.
Maybe they'll come back.
And this lycanthrope.
Static's already got some
that's true. Static's
history with them.
Yeah, he watched the video.
Yeah.
It falls.
What do we got coming up?
Now sitting on...
Because I think that's the last big
his hind quarters, his haunches.
Yeah,
like
so
a dog. What we've got coming up is we are
firing
smack dab in the middle of a series of rave
Made us
reviews.
kill a
So
bunch
that
Yeah,
is
well, not now.
Sunday and Wednesday, barring gas
Damn it,
leaks in
Kate,
my
it's
apartment
all your
or
fault.
other
If you had been ready and
emergency
prepared,
service requiring things.
How was this my fault? I didn't even shoot it.
Night. So yeah, we'll be
you could
back
have
on
let me
Sunday
use
with
the
that.
YouTuber as bait, and we
Monday.
would
So
have
we'll
never
be
had
back
to
on
kill
Wednesday
time.
with that. Thursdays we've got Donnie Does It. He just started a brand new model. You started out last
Kate's
week, right?
probably going to call his name. What was the name that we read from
Was it
the
last
wallet?
week? 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
Warren
ago.
Chevron. Before Thanksgiving, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Warren?
right. We didn't do it last Thursday
does it
because
look-
last Thursday was Thanksgiving. So yeah,
Oh, it is
Wednesday,
hurt.
rave reviews. Thursday,
Oh.
Donnie Does It. Sunday,
Jack,
rave reviews.
I've never...
Monday,
It's a werewolf.
What are we doing Monday?
Shit.
More tabletop stuff. I know that.
I think
Yeah.
you were running a Christmas horror
That's
movie.
right. That's right. I am running
So I'm going
us
to take
through
a step towards it.
frighteningly
Going
good
to,
time for Christmas.
Kind of not
That I have.
like not aiming the gun at it, just kind of aiming it at the
But what you
ground.
guys seen is my.
Just kind of take my hand
It
off
doesn't
and
take me
like hold one up
a
and then
long
like take a
time
step
to
closer.
write. Once
He's
I've
going
got
to growl and
the idea,
snarl,
it really is
actually, as you
just
approach, not going to back away.
Oh, sorry, Such. I forgot the clip is still playing.
And as you reach out,
Probably should let that clip finish.
You get carried away.
he is going to sniff your hand.
Oh.
And then he is going
All
to
right,
bite it.
I am going. Nice.
Did it restart?
No, it's
Oh,
just
no.
a 4-minute clip. So you are going to take 3 harm, and you are going to lose the hand that you reached out with.
Oh, no.
You stuck your hand in a werewolf's face
But also
after
it was-
you shot him twice.
But he was a
The
hurt
opening to the scene
puppy.
where
Oh,
they shot the
no.
dog. There we go. Now, what were we saying? I lost what I was saying.
So yeah, we've got rave reviews a couple times this week, but we're moving into holiday horror next couple weeks. And then I think we've got some promos for or lead-ins for Cyberpunk, right?
Yep, that is the plan.
Yeah.
We're going to finish out this year with a couple of horror specials, run by yours truly, and then we are going to do a couple of weeks of really cool little character pieces for Cyberpunk, and then January 19th, 364 days after we launched this goofy little network, we are going to be starting Chapter 2 of our Cyberpunk campaign. So yeah, I really hope everybody can join us for that, because I know we do a lot of video game stuff these days, but this started as a tabletop group doing Cyberpunk, and that is our favorite thing to do together. But yeah, we've got our schedule posted on our Instagram and on our YouTube page, so check that out. Make sure you drop comments, likes, subscribes, all that stuff, because it really does help us out. It lets us know what you guys want to see from us, so that we can keep making high-quality content. What else, guys?
I think that's about it.
All right.
That's it.
Groovy. Well, thank you all for spending your Monday evening with us, if that's what you did. If you're watching us later, thank you just the same. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Wednesday night, me and Ray are going to be probably getting that counter up close to 200. All right, we'll see you guys Wednesday. Have a great one. Thanks for hanging.
See you, everyone.
See ya.